Recognize that tune, and you know it's time for Relics Radio. This is a family-friendly show, so the entire family can join us as we talk metal detecting and relic hunting. You can call into the show at 270-495-0315 or join in the chat and post any comments or questions you might have, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. You're listening to Relics Radio of Southern Kentucky and Middle Tennessee. And it is October the 25th, 2018. I tell you what, guys, midterm elections are just around the corner, and that Latino version of Woodstock is now 17,000 strong, headed for the southern border. Some nut jobs sending fake bombs all around the country, but do you know what? It is still Thursday, and I've got a ROC cola and a moon pie, and Relics Radio is about to go live. I am your host, Digging with Seven.
And I'm your co-host, Tennessee Jeff, and I do not have a moon pie, so I am jealous.
I don't either, but my aunt used to always send me to the store, and she'd never say RC. She'd say ROC. Go up there and get me a ROC cola and a moon pie. And I never, that was back in the 1800s, you know, whenever.
When moon pies were big?
Yeah, whenever I was just a little kid. Episode 52 this week, Jeff.
Buddy, it's went by fast. I didn't realize it was 52 today. I thought maybe next week or it seems like it was only been like 30 of them. So
yeah, 1 year tonight that we have been on the air. We've kind of gone through an evolution. The first shows that we did, we were still trying to work out our phone line things and everything. And didn't have a ton of listeners, but I tell you what, we have had some great guests all through the year, haven't we?
We sure have, and we really appreciate every one of them. I mean, we couldn't have done it without them, and then we couldn't do it without our listeners. So.
No, there's no way in the world that we could do it. It wouldn't be worth it if we didn't have any listeners. And, you know, we've got international listeners now. The Lee Beat family out of Birmingham, UK, listens to this show on a regular basis. Chris Cook out of Australia listens to our show on a regular basis. And, you know, we're just, we're growing. I tell you, we are.
You know, this is our year anniversary, and it still amazes me why people would want to listen to two rednecks with a metal detector. I mean, we could talk to each other all day long and, I mean, have fun doing it, but I sure didn't know everybody else would want to listen to us.
Well, it's just because we're so pretty. I mean, you can see that on the show right now. How good looking there we are. Let me remind you of something else, too, guys, that if you've got a Relics Radio T-shirt, and if you don't, you need one, because I tell you what, those folks that are getting Relics Radio T-shirts are finding bucket list items left and right. And you get those from Detectors, and they are one of our sponsors, and we'll run their commercial here momentarily. And on the description of this podcast, I've got a link to their place. But anyway, if you've got a Relics Radio T-shirt, take a picture of yourself and then go to the Relics Radio Facebook group page and post that picture, and we will give you a number. And then on the Thanksgiving show, which will be Thanksgiving night, we're going to draw a number, and somebody's going to win a Garrett AT Pro Pointer, and I ordered that Monday, so it should be here it should be here, I guess, maybe tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But and then Ken and Mark Guthrie said that they were going to throw in a hoodie on that. And then also on Digging with Seven YouTube page, we have a Christmas giveaway, and Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors has donated a MineLab GoFind 44 metal detector. All you have to do is just go in on that video and in the comment section comment GoFind. I will give you a number, and I don't know, we're up around 160 something numbers in that right now. But then I thought on December the 13th on that show, we'll draw that number, and then that'll give us time to get that thing shipped out where some lucky person is going to have a real good Christmas with a MineLab metal detector, aren't they?
They sure will. And I was wondering how many we had in there on that MineLab. I knew it was way up there, so I know you're taking care of all that. And of course, if both of us try to take care of it, people end up getting two numbers. So
you can't do that. And I've got a Word document that I go over, and I put their name in that, and that just keeps everything, where it needs to be, where we know what those numbers are and everything. Yeah. Chat's filling up, ain't it, Jeff?
It is. Guess what I got in the mail this week?
What'd you get?
Well, actually Monday. I got me a hoodie. How about that? It was the green hoodie. So
that's what I
think Ken and Mark for that, and then I've got to break it in. I've got to find some good relics, get some dirt on it. So
I've already wore mine. I wore mine Monday. Sure did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
And I had to take it off pretty quick because I tell you, it was really warm. And something else, and I think I sent you a message, but Digging with Deej sent us a couple of stickers, and then Sue Roberts that filled in for you whenever you went to the Hippie Fest, when you went to the Redneck Woodstock, she sent us some Coens, and so thanks to both of those ladies. You didn't have to do that, but
no, you sure didn't. Thank you very much.
But we really appreciate it. Who we got in the chat now?
Well, we've got Ohio Relic Hunter, Bob, Missouri Mike, Bill, Chris, Beyond Josh, Beyond Sight and Sound. We got Will in there. Let's move on down a little bit. Let's see. There's Ken Guthrie. Jeff Miller's in the house. Move on. That's about it right now. So
I seen Jason Julian in there, and Missouri Mike was in there too.
Yeah, I got Missouri. Yeah,
did
Missouri.
you? I didn't know that you'd. And Mark Hoover is in. I'm going to tell you something. Mark Hoover. There is a little bit of chemistry some way between me and Mark Hoover, because last week I was hunting, and I had just dug a hole and pulled a Cohen out. It was a 1890 Indian head penny, and I couldn't get the date off of it, and so I walked back over to the vehicle to get me some reading glasses where I could get the date off of that, and my phone rang, and it's Mark Hoover. What are you doing? I said, well, I'm hunting. I just found a 1890 Indian head penny. And so then today I'm out hunting, and I dig this hole, and I roll something out of the hole there, and my phone rings. I've got my phone out. I'm fixing to record the clip, and my phone rings, and I look at it, and it's Mark Hoover, and he said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm hunting, and I just found a Colt 44 I was fixing to film. So if you can get Mark Hoover to call you, you'll find some good stuff.
Yeah, Mark, why don't you call me every now and then? So, of course, actually, I haven't been hunting the last about 2 weeks. Well, maybe a couple hours here and there, but, I mean, not like I call hunting like we do. Hadn't hit any thickets or anything like that. So.
Well, I went back over to the 44 woods today for a couple of hours, and there were a couple of cedar trees. And I moved the first one, and I found a Gallagher, and I found a brass, big, heavy brass spoon handle. Would have been from the Civil War, I'm sure. And then I went and moved another one. Well, actually, I put my coil under it, and that's where the 44 was. And then after I hung up with Mark, I moved the rest of that tree just out of the way, and I found 2 more Gallaghers up under that. So.
Well, why don't we just take a bulldozer up there and then see if he'll let us clear them trees out?
Well, he won't let us do that because we don't own it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just to see if it was okay with him. But.
Yeah, I just wish all the brush was cleaned off of the thing. I tell you, there's still stuff there. But I'm hot on the trail of, I don't think, now that I've hunted the thing for 5 years, I don't think it's the camp. I think it was a big picket post is all that I think it is. And I've got maps that show where the camp is, and I talked to some people last night, and I'm a little bit closer to getting permission to go and check out where I got a hold of a map, a guy that got a hold of me, and he's a researcher. And he told me, he said, I'll send you some stuff. And he sent me a map. And I'd never seen the map, and Chad Comer had never seen the map. And Chad has researched that quite a bit, about as much as I have. Yeah. And so maybe possibility that there's going to be, the actual camp. And if that's the case, Katie, borrow the doors, because if the picket post had that much stuff, because I've pulled over 1,000 Civil War relics out of the picket post. So if that's a camp, Katie, borrow the doors. We fixing to have a good time.
Yeah, I'll start coming up to Kentucky for that.
Who we got tonight as a guest, Jeff?
We have got a Vic Tucker. What do they call him? Coin Whisperer?
Coin Whisperer. Me and Vic go back a long way, don't we, Vic?
No, yes, we do.
Well, 18?
Very long time.
No, we don't go back to the 1800s. Vic,
I think me and Lloyd met in 1914. I was just a young pup, and he guided me. He was my mentor.
I'm going to have to kill him right here at the start of the show, ain't I? No, we met on friendly metal detecting, didn't we? On a forum.
Yes, we did. Yeah, I've met quite a few nice guys on that forum.
Yeah, I have too. And I'll tell you why I got off of the forum was because I was finding Civil War relics and finding colonial relics, and there just wasn't many people there that did that. And there just wasn't that much interest, and I'd kind of thought about doing videos and everything, and so I kind of got into the video world, and I'll still go back over there every now and then, and some of those guys, Chip 61, he'll send me a text every once in a while. Missouri Bob, he'll send me one. But I guess you're still active on that, ain't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm very active on that site. It's like my home base. I met guys on there, they're like brothers to me. I've actually metal detected with, I'd say, 4 or 5 guys from that site. And guys come down and hunt with me, and I'll go meet guys wherever they're at and have a good time and cut up a little bit and find some cool stuff and just meet new people.
Me and Jeff, me and Vic we both had CTX 3030s at the time, didn't we, Vic?
Yes, we did. And actually, I don't know if you remember, but I don't know, was it 5 years ago, you I was talking about this digger I wanted, and you, out of the blue, Seven just sends me a digger, and I'm still using that same digger today, that Raptor Model 31. You said it was just your Kentucky ground was just too hard.
Yeah.
Seven's good about that stuff. I mean, he's given me a few things, and I mean, just out of the blue, he'll come up, well, here you go. So hey, that's a good guy. He's a great friend.
Yeah. Seven's a real nice guy.
I thought.
I love that digger. I mean, I can't use anything else. I don't use any kind of like a Samson. Well, I don't hunt fields like you guys do. I mainly hunt houses and forts, and I've always just used that digger. And I absolutely love it.
It's a good yard digger, and
yes, it is.
We hunt fields mainly, and we've got to have a pretty good sized digger, because when we're in the woods, you're trying to cut through roots and all that kind of stuff, and you've got to have a pretty good digger to get in on in the ground. And I thought, well, I could probably send the thing back and get my money back. I bought it and thought I'd seen some people use it, and I thought, well, that'd be a pretty good digger. And then I thought, I don't want that thing. That ain't going to work for me. And I thought, well, I bet you that Vic would like to have that. So I sent it to you.
And I appreciate it. Like I said, it's probably lost 3 inches on the end of the blade. I've used it so much.
Man,
it's like a little spoon now. But yeah, I mean, it's probably my most important detecting equipment. I mean, I love it. And
man, did it come with any mojo?
Well, I have actually plopped a few Civil War relics with it.
Well, that's good.
So some of that 7 magic dust rubbed up on it.
Man, well, maybe he needs to send me a digger then. I haven't found any Civil War artifacts in the last month or so. Of course, like I said earlier, I hadn't been out too much. So, but what detector do you use now?
Well, now I've had so many. Right now I have the Equinox 800, and I have the CTX, which the CTX it's like an extension of my right arm. I've used it so long. You know, it's my yard and park detector. Now, if I'm going to go like hunt my little Civil War picket post or hunt a field site, I'm taking the Equinox.
Yeah. How you
know
like
the CTX is for? Oh, I love it. I mean, there's a park up the road from me. I've hunted it, I don't know, for 5 years. And the first 3 years I hunted that park, I would be out there every day, all day, 12 hours at a time, just digging everything. And there's the front yard, it's huge. And people have been hunting that place since detectors were invented. And because they had a Civil War campsites on it and everything. And it's only like 2 miles from where the Union took over the Capitol. They had a Capitol here for 10 days. And so there's a lot of history around that area, and you dig everything and hoping to find a button or whatever. Well, I hunted it for like 3 years with the CTX, and I hunted it with the Deus, and I hunted it with the E-Track, and you name it, I've used it. Well, it got to the point where I wouldn't even go to the park. It was so bad, if I didn't have nowhere to go, I just stayed home. Well, I got that Equinox. I got it back in March. I think it was February or March. I got one of the early ones. Mm-hmm. And I took it to that park, and the first day, in the same way I've always hunted, I pulled 2 V-nickels, 3 Indian heads, and I found found some silver cufflinks. Couldn't believe it. I mean, it absolutely blew my mind. And I said, I got to go back. So the next day I went, I found a large scent. I found 2 or 3 more Indians. I took another V-nickel. I dug a general service button, and I dug a 3-ringer.
Man, that is a prime example.
And I'm telling you, in this area, me personally, all my friends, we have absolutely hammered till there were no signals. And that Equinox, it just, I don't know what it was, but it pulled those signals out of the ground.
Now, what program are you running on your Equinox?
I personally I only use Part 2.
Okay.
I just find Part 2 is sensitive to low conductors. I don't know. I think Part 1 is supposed to be for high conductors. But for me, and, some guys' videos I've seen, Part 2 is just a deeper program. It's more sensitive. And I've had great success with Part 2. But I have a story. I was hunting this woman's yard. I've hunted it countless times. Found a few good things. And it's a small yard. I didn't want to over CTX a couple times. And then the Knox, I found a few wheat pennies in Part 2, and I gritted it. No more signals left. So I had a brilliant idea. I thought, I'm going to put it on Goldmine. I put it on Goldmine, and I'll find stuff at ridiculous depths. It's kind of hard in Goldmine because you got power lines. But when it hits a target, it sings. And I dug a Mercury down on the edge. It was probably 9 inches deep, and it just, it just came through it. And I put it, before I dug it, I put it back on Part 2, and it was nothing. But that gold mine, Goldfield, gold mine, it come right through.
Man, I may have to upgrade 7. So I done got the bug now. I want the other 2 modes in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you that. I don't know. I can't remember if it's called Goldfield or Gold Mine, but it's in them fields you guys hunt. And some people, I know you guys got the GPXs.
Yeah.
But it's a nice option to have on that Knox.
Yeah, I never heard anybody using the gold program for Cohen hunting and everything. That's interesting. I started out in Park 2 and hunted quite a bit with it, but I've kind of gone to Field 2 now, and just to tell you the honest truth, I don't know what the difference between Park 1, Park 2, Field 1, and Field 2 is.
I'm not for sure either.
It seems like it wouldn't be a difference if you're hunting in multi-frequency. Because you think multi-frequency, it's all the programs are just cycling through the same frequencies. I really don't know
I don't either.
Logistics on how the settings are set up.
We've had Debbie on the show a couple of times, and next time we have her, we're going to ask her what the difference between those. But right now, I'm hunting in Park 2. I mean, in Field 2. And having real good luck. And I think the key to all that is the multi-frequency. Hey, guys, we've got to take a hard break right here and run a commercial, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Seven, we's looking good in our new Redux Radio T-shirts.
Yeah, Ken and Mark Guthrie of detectors.com done brung them to us.
Yep. And they makes other shirts, too.
Yeah, boy. Detectors.com can handle tees for your club, hunt, or any other promotion folks may have.
They even got the Wide Pride shirts.
Yeah, them boys does the manatee crawl.
Yeah, scooting on their bellies.
That's what I said. The manatee crawl.
Looks like slugs eating jelly.
So whether you hunt horizontal or vertical, tell the folks where they need to go, TJ.
www.detectors.com.
I still love that commercial. I was going back through the chat here. Who was it a while ago, Jeff, that said if I would sign that digger for Vic, that it would be a Civil War relic?
Was that Mark?
No, it wasn't Mark Hoover. It was somebody else. But they said if I would sign that digger for Vic, it would be a Civil War relic. Now, that's the kind of stuff I got to put up with here, Vic. All these people.
Oh, that's a good one.
All these people.
That was Will.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I went back up. Of course, my chat locks up pretty quick, but it's still going right now.
Yeah, well, I see we had Jeff Ford in the house now, and Tim Henderson. He eased in there, and there was a couple of more that Barb, she come in the house, and let's see. Of course, there's Mark Hoover. That was we've already got him, so.
Yeah, I had old Barb come down to my area. I had to show her how to dig some coins one day.
Oh, did you?
To tell y'all. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've known Barb. Barb's a good girl. I've known her a long time. I hunted with her 2 or 3 times.
We hunted with her this last DIV, and I didn't know if I was going to get. I was an alternate and didn't know if I was going to get drawn out or anything. And we actually were going to do a live podcast and did do a live podcast from there. So really, I got in that way, and so got to meet Barb and got to hunt with her for a little bit there. And yeah, we thank the world of Barb. She's a great girl. Hey,
yeah, she's like Earl with Virginia. She's kind of hard to keep up with. Once she hits that ground, buddy, she's gone.
Yeah.
And of course, she's so small. I mean, she can hide behind a twig and you not see her.
Well, that horse detector's like a 2 foot tall.
I tell you what, she's a small package, but there's a lot of power in that, ain't they? I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of her. No way in the world. Hey, Mike Spicer made it in. I seen that Mike. He's your buddy, ain't he?
Yeah, he's my buddy.
So, Vic, do you normally just knock on doors, or do you have other permissions? Like,
I'm mainly a door knocker, and I'm really not into public hunting because, like I said, my area, I don't live in a big town, and everybody's ever had a metal detector in their hands in this area, they've, pretty much hit all the obvious old spots. And so my bread and butter is door knocking.
Yeah.
And see, I work at a veterinarian clinic, and there's a lot of clientele, and I've been there for 16 years, so I pretty much smell a lot. I know a lot of people, and when people come in, I'm the type of guy, I've got outgoing personality, and I'll see somebody that I don't know them personally, but I've seen them in there quite a few times. I'll go over and sit on the bench, put my arm around them, if it's a woman, and say, and the first thing I'll say is, how old is your house? And they'll look at me crazy. And then we get to talking, and I get a lot of submissions that way. I'm like, yeah, come over, sure. And I had one lady, she was sitting on the bench, and I saw her. And I said, I'm going to go ask this lady. I said, I went over there and sat down beside her, put my arm around her. And she just smiled. And I said, how old is your house? She said, it was built in 1800. I about fell out of the seat and had a heart attack. she said, you can come on anytime you want. So, that's just, I mean, my saying is, if you don't ask, it's always a no.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And they can't eat you. I mean, they might be able to shoot you, but they can't eat you.
Yeah. Like I tell, I got friends that won't door knock, for whatever reason. And I say, the worst thing they can say is no, and I've never had anybody be rude about it. They'll say, I'd rather you not, and I tell them, I apologize for taking up your time and have a good day. But I've also had people that said no, but I have an uncle down the road you might want to go ask, and got permissions that way.
Man, that's pretty good. And I've had people say no, and then I hand them my card before I leave, and then they'll call me back a few days later. I guess they do a little bit of research and then find out who you are, and then they'll call you back and then say, well, yeah, you can come and look.
Yeah.
Hey, Vic.
And I have it. Yeah.
Well, go ahead and finish what you was going to say there.
Oh, I was going to say, living in a small area, I have a big advantage because where I work, it's like the most popular place for people to take the animals. And so when I knock on somebody's door, and if they say no, I always say, I work over at the veterinarian clinic, and a lot of times they're like, oh, I take my dog there, I take my cat there, go ahead, and they'll change their tune.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a big advantage for me around here because I get so many yeses just because of where I work.
It's a big advantage to live in a small community, too.
Yeah,
I think the people are different, and everybody knows you. And if I knock doors here, I would think that it would be safe to say that 95% of those would be yeses if I went around and asked them. I just don't do it. That's not my style of hunting.
Yeah. But I've got a perfect example of that. I've got a good friend. He's like a brother. His name's Vic Tucker. He lives in Chicago. And he says door knocking in Chicago, people are like, they're so we're wary of strangers, and people won't even open the doors. But down here in the South, it's nothing for me to be out in the middle of the country and see an 85-year-old woman sitting on a porch or sitting inside of a kitchen. I knock on the door, and she'll just tell me, come on in the house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean that happens a lot. And come on in.
And that's just the way we are. And then, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people getting where they're not like that, but you still have a select few that'll do that. And then I hope, as long as I'm around, I hope that it stays that way, especially in my little area here. So,
well, people that move in here from the north, and buy up land and stuff, we can tell a difference between them and the regular, the old-time residents that have grown up here or had land here for a long time. There's just a different culture up north. And if they come in here and buy land, it's hard to get a permission from those people. But the old-time Southerners, it's like you say, when you go to hunt on their land, you better be prepared to eat dinner with them because they're going to invite you in.
That's right. And then,
I got a story. I was up in Ohio this past weekend with Two-Tone Joe, and me and a couple of guys, we went up there to stay with Joe for the weekend, and we meet Joe, and we go to this big farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere, and we go to nobody answers the door, so we go around the back, and there's these two guys sitting back there. One of them's got an AR. He's cleaning an AR-15 as we walk up to the same house. And he's like, and he's looking. He looked kind of like a burly, big old country man, big old long beard, and he's cleaning this AR-15. And we just walk on to the back and we walk around his cars, and he's like, "Hey, how y'all doing?" So come to find out, he's like one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. He was showing us arrowheads, invited us in his house, invited me to come back this fall to hunt arrowheads in the fields. And, a lot of people would have, they would have been taken aback and wouldn't have just walked up to him. But You know,
yeah,
if you want to hunt a place, you got to do it.
That's right. And then most of the guys you see that way around here, I mean, luckily they're nice. I mean, you want to stay on their good side anyway. And then they'll invite you in and then, I mean, treat you like family. And they just met you that day right there. And then, of course, they'll treat you like family.
Hey, Vic.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever been in Texas with they're back there shooting AR-15s and 9mm.
Hey, Vic, tell Jeff about the girls' school.
Okay. Well, back in 2014, I was at work, and my boss's sister, she does the books and everything there, and she used to work at this all-girls private school up the road. And I did, and the man that runs it, the dean of it, I've known him. I've known the man and his brother for many years, but I never knew where they worked. I never asked. And my boss's sister one day said, "Have you went up and asked to do the girls' private school?" And I said, "Are you crazy?" I said, "Those people will not let me up there in Metal Tech because it's a very exclusive place. I mean, it's what you can't just walk up there. There's guards. You walk up there and there's 4 or 5 security vans asking you what you're doing there because it's rich girls from around the world go there. Henry Ford's granddaughter went there. George O'Keeffe's famous author went there. And it's just a real uptight community, and it's just a different world." And she said, "You know that so-and-so is the dean?" And I said, "No way." I said, "Well, I'll ask him." Thinking to myself, he's not going to let me do it. And so I rode up there one day and asked to speak to him and told him what I wanted to do. And he said, "Sure." He said, "You can come up here." He said, "The only stipulation is, I prefer you not to be here when the girls are here. Parents might get upset." And he said, "But long, any breaks, Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, etc., you're more than welcome to come up here." And, I was like, I was expecting to find a few things. I wasn't expecting to find what I found. But I went over there, and the first day, I believe I dug 7 gold rings. 7 or 8
Are
gold
you
rings,
kidding me?
Oh, I dug. I mean, it was because the place is so clean. It was built in 1894, and the place is immaculate. In an all-day hunt, for example, I'm talking sun up to sundown on a Saturday, digging every signal, foil. I'm sorry, anything not iron. I might dig 10 pieces of trash. Everything else is either a silver coin, silver ring, or a gold ring. And all, I say out of a year, I might get up there 10 times a year, maybe. In 3 years, I dug over 200 silver coins. I dug over 30 gold class rings. Probably 75 pieces of gold altogether. I dug well over 100 pieces of stone jewelry. I used to send 7. Every time I'd find something, I would send them a text.
Yeah.
And tell them 7. Your phone would be blowing up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
You would say, "Oh, you at the girls' school?"
Yeah. And at the time that you were hunting the girls' school, I was hunting the old fairgrounds, and I was popping barbers every minute, And me and Vic were just texting back and forth, I'd show him a picture of a barber, and I'd be so proud, and he'd send me a picture of a $500 gold ring he'd just found. Tell him about the watch.
I found a solid gold pocket watch. I was hunting around the base of an old solid gold. I was hunting around an old cedar tree, and I get this funky signal. And it was a girl's. It wasn't a man's. It was a woman's pocket watch. It was smaller, and I get the signal. It's a little less than a zinc penny, and it was shallow. It was a shallow signal, and I was thinking it might be a Indian or something like that. I wasn't expecting a gold pocket watch. So I popped the plug, and out pops this engraved gold watch. I'm thinking it might be it's probably this way. There's no way. I opened up the case, and you could see where they had taken it in a bit paid. It had engravings inside the case, and it was a 14K mark. And I looked it up, and it was a maker that was real famous. And found that. And my second best find, I was down in the woods across the street from the main campus. There's this old I'd say an 1880s house sitting down in the woods. They used to use it for music class. And it's overgrown now. There's trees. It's just, it's in shambles. It caught on fire back in the 90s. And I went that spring, and I'm allergic to poison oak, and there was poison oak. It was everywhere. Ticks everywhere, and I said, there's no way I can hunt now. So I said, I'll come back this winter. Well, fast forward to this winter. I go down there. Everything's clean. All the underbrush is gone. Poison oak's gone. And I'm having a good time digging silver dimes and stuff, and I get around this huge oak tree in the front yard. I get this signal. It's 7 inches deep. I'm sitting there and I take my gloves off and I'm digging. I'm busting the roots with my hand and not thinking anything of it. And I pop out this big silver item and I look at it, and it was a watch winder, but it had a coin in the middle of it. The coin was a 1694 Austrian cruiser, about the size of a $50.
Goodness gracious!
Oh,
and I looked at it and I Googled it to make sure it was, because all my buddies joke it's 1964. So I looked it up, and it sure enough was a 1694 silver coin that was silver soldered in there. Well, I get home, and 2 days later I started itching real bad. And I figured it out that all them roots I was digging in were poison oak roots.
Oh, man.
And, during the course of hunting, you go to the restroom and all that stuff. And I had poison oak everywhere imaginable. And it was, I'm telling you, I paid a dear price for that artifact.
Well, would you do it again?
Oh, yeah, I'd do it again.
That's what I was going to say. I'd do it for you.
Hey, Vic, I'll tell you what I want you to do. And you do post a lot of stuff on our Relics Radio Facebook group page, and we appreciate it. Put a picture of that watch sometime whenever you get some time, and then the watch winder and everything, so that everybody that's listening to the show here can see that, because it is amazing, I tell you. And there's no telling what
that watch winder, it made the find of the month on MindLab's webpage way back when.
Oh, I'd say it did, and it probably would today, too.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, poison oak roots, they will still do that. And Miss Emily Copeland, the Little Digger, is on tonight listening to us, Shannon said. And we love it when we get these kids in here listening, don't we, Jeff?
We sure do. And
she's
going really love it.
She's going to be something to some competition for everybody, because she's already good. She can already find more bullets than Butch can. Hey, guys, we hadn't give out the call-in number, but and I'll get Jeff to throw it in the chat while I'm giving it, but it's 270-495-0315. We can still take multiple calls here at Relics Radio. Our Skype version still works as it should. And we've got Vic Tucker, the Cohen Whisperer from Virginia. Call in and ask your questions. Jeff, did you see on the show prep any of the questions that were asked on it?
I did. Kaya, how do you pronounce Kaya?
I think it's Kaya. Kaya Monster.
Yeah. She was wanting to know, Vic, what metal detector did you start with?
Well, I started with an AT Pro, and I had it. I never used it as much as I should have. I used it for like 3 months. And after I got on Facebook and got on these military forum pages, I knew my path was coin shooting. So, of course, everybody that was, finding all these silver coins was using the E-Track and the CTX. And so I went and got an E-Track. Well, fast forward 6 months maybe. Well, actually, no, the CTX hadn't come out yet, so I had the E-Track. And that was about 6 months later, the CTX came out. And I was like, new toy, gotta have it. So I got a good buddy, YouTube guy, dirt fishing, Bill out of Missouri. Mm-hmm. Bill Sarver. He's had a CTX on the videos he was using, and I messaged him one day on Friendly. Told him, I have a practically brand new AT Pro and E-Track. Would you like to trade for that CTX? So he took call me. So after about 2 hours of talking, I traded him my 2 detectors and got that CTX, and I've had it ever since. I like to wheel and deal. I mean, most of the detectors I've had, I've traded. Traded up, trade this one, and just trade up, and so it's the CTX. I've had it since 2013, and like I was saying earlier, it's like an extension of my right arm. I'll never get rid of it. It's just I love it. I mean, I know it so well. I do like having a relic detector also. I want to get a GPX, but I don't have the sites you guys have to really justify the purchase right now for one.
Yeah.
Hunting yards.
And it's not a detector that you can hunt yards with, or a place that has a lot of iron. I mean, it'll kill you. It's one of those places where you go to, especially mineralized ground like in Culpeper. It works great there. But also it's a deep machine, and you can go back over sites that have already been hunted with a VLF. But I remember me and you went through kind of the same evolution, because whenever I first met you, I think, we both had AT Pros, and then we both bought an E-Track, and then we both bought a CTX. And so we were just kind of brothers from different mothers, as far as detecting went. And that was quite a jump going from an AT Pro to an E-Track, wasn't it?
Yes. Well, before I even started, I just started detecting back in 2012, the end of 2012. I probably watched 1,000 hours of video on YouTube of metal detecting, how to cut proper plugs, how to do things right. And like the AT Pro, that's what I got. I watched so many how-to videos on it that when I got it, I pretty much knew what to do. Because that's just, I just like a sponge. I just absorb the information and watch guys what to listen for, what to dig, and it was a big help. And then I went to the E-Track, and of course I watched a ton of videos. But yeah, it was a jump, because I remember going out there and I forgot to noise cancel, and the thing would go crazy, and I was getting frustrated and changing frequencies and all that stuff. But after a while, it just becomes second nature.
That's right. And any newcomer that if they're listening out there or whatever, I always tell them go to YouTube and look at all the videos of different detectors, and then they'll help you more than anything that can. Is the YouTube videos.
And with all of our experience, we ought to really be doing more videos that show newcomers how to use things and everything. Hey guys, hold that thought for just a minute. We got another commercial break, and we'll be right back. If your passion is metal detecting, then you know how much your success is based on the equipment you use. Let my buddy Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, help you with that. Tim is an authorized dealer of Garrett, XP Deus, and Macro detectors and supplies, and he is now an authorized dealer for MineLab. So if you're looking to get your hands on one of the new Equinox 600 or 800, then Tim's your guy. Murray Branch Outdoors is not only competitive in their prices, but the service after the sale is second to none. Tim not only sells detectors, he uses them, and so he can answer any question that you might have. Murray Branch Outdoors also deals in used detectors, and he'll take your old detector in on trade when you decide to upgrade. So give Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors a call at 615-948-4611 and be sure and tell him that Relics Radio sent you. Hey guys, the phone lines are still open, 270-495-0315. We're talking to Vic Tucker tonight, Coin Whisperer out of Virginia, giving all of his experiences and the machines that he's used. Hey Vic, what do you think about the XP Deus? I know you've had one of those. I don't know if you've still got one.
No, actually, I had it for like a year, and I traded it for the Equinox. But I really enjoy the Deus. It was another one in the detectors. I drove myself crazy trying to learn it, watching all these XP tutorials, and at first it blew my mind. But I tend to make things more complicated than they should and have to be. because I want to know everything, what every setting does, and going out and adjusting my settings to the ground I'm hunting. But after a while, it becomes second nature. Yeah, I really like the days. I love the weight of it and how it breaks down. Especially when you're traveling, you can just fold it up like an accordion and put it in the back of the truck. And I really like the idea because once I do arrowhead hunting in tobacco fields, and we were at a site and we started seeing pottery on the ground, but it was rode up and you couldn't swing the detector. So what I did, I took the dais, put the remote in my pocket, and just took the bottom end with the coil on it, and just swung it on the sides of the mounds, going down through that tobacco. Well, my buddies couldn't the metal detector, but I could with that, just the end of that dais, just the coil and the lower rod.
Yeah. Hey, we got a call that came in. Miss Barb is on. What's going on, Barb?
Good. How are you, youngin?
Hello, Barb. She must be talking to me.
No, she's talking to Vic.
Vic.
You are going
so
up.
Dang young and
you're going up into his country here in a few days, ain't you?
She's always pirates in my state.
Oh, is she?
Yep. And I always post the Virginia is for lovers sign. Welcome to Virginia, just for Vic. I stop at the welcome center, shoot it, and post it. And he tells me.
And I always comment and say, "Here's for me again. Take it all my goodies that I'll never find again."
I'll see him on somebody's Facebook page. That's about it.
Another one of our good buddies is in. Matt Howe has come in, and Dennis is in. I don't know if we mentioned him. Chris Heimsoff is in. All of those. But you two, Barb, you've hunted with Vic before quite a bit, haven't you?
I've hunted with him. I was at a conference in Greensboro, North Carolina, and so I zipped up and we met after work, and he took me to the Weedy Park, and he found the only silver dime.
I got a picture of that using my profile picture. And then we hunted in South Carolina together. And then she came up to the CWPPO in Ohio and hunted with me. She's my digging mama.
Yeah. Yeah, Ohio Relic Hunter said that you had been to a couple of CWPPOs. We were going to go this year. I had planned to go, and I don't guess that there's going to be one this year, is there?
No, there's not going to be one. Sam and Evan got married, and they had a plan for that all year long. She really didn't have time to organize it for this year, but she said it's definitely coming back. So it's a great time. It really is. I've been to every one of them, and you meet a bunch of awesome people and couple great calls. And it's a wonderful experience. It's one of the best things I've ever done. I love it.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
If I can't go to CWPPO, I'm gonna go up there and hunt with Ohio Relic Hunter anyway. As soon as I get everything out of the way, I got to go down into Tennessee on business here this next week, and then the week after that I'm going to be in Indiana, and so as soon as I get all that out of the way, I'm gonna schedule a trip up there, and I'm gonna go hunt with Bill Marsh and those guys before I die.
Bill Marsh is a good guy.
He is.
Bill Marsh, he's a buddy of mine.
He is a good guy, and we had him on the show. Him and Mark Hoover were companion guests one night. Great show. Go back and listen to that. But
it was a great show.
Yeah, great people. But I wish I was going to digging in Virginia with Barb, but I ain't going to get to.
Well, you can call and say we'd do another live podcast.
Yeah, we could probably get in. I just can't. I can't schedule the time to go or anything. But what farms are y'all going to hunt up there this time, Barb?
Beauregard and Excelsior Camp.
Well, I guess they stuff still left at both of those, ain't they?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of
stuff. Barb says, I hope.
Yeah, I like to go myself. I've never attended one of those. Which Culpeper's, I think it's like 3 hours from me.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, I need to go. I need to go up there.
Well,
it's about 2 hours. I come south out of Culpeper, into University of Virginia, whatever town that is. And the minute it takes 30 minutes to get there, and the minute you get through it, it says Dansville, I think 70-something miles. And I'm like, damn, Vic's only an hour and a half down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, he come visit me.
Yeah. And, if you go up there, though, Vic, now, Barb will tell you, that is hot soil up there, and VLF machines really, really struggle. Now, you can get in the woods.
Yeah, that's the main reason I have not tried it, because, like I said,
yeah,
if I'm going to go, I'm going to have a GPX in my hand.
Yeah, and you can't hardly afford to buy one just to go to a DIV once
exactly.
a year. I
yeah.
mean, because you're putting out a lot of money. But
yeah.
I tell you what, I have tried to the best of my ability to get you to doing more research. You and I talked back and forth, and you sent me some locations, and I pulled up some maps and located some places for you. I know that you've got some old colonial stuff in your area. If you just branch out and start doing some more research.
Yeah, I was going to say something about that. I'm guilty of it. I'm not. My strength is not researching. I mean, a lot of my buddies, especially in Ohio, they'll research farm fields and find old stuff. And I've gone to historic areas, but it seems in my area, the maps don't go back I think it's 1918. And I see where guys will find these old plot maps from the 1812, 1810. And I need to go to my local library, I guess, and take a day and just go and try to find these old maps and just find coordinates and ask these farmers around here. Because there's a farm up the road from me that it says on the sign established in 1796, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been meaning to ride up and talk to the farmer and see if I don't know what he farms. I don't know if it's just, I don't know if it's a working farm or not. I don't know if he just has cattle out there or tobacco. I don't know.
We'll see here at the house. So most of our crops are already picked right now. Well, I seen today they're picking a big cornfield down the road, and then we still have some soybeans out in the field. But that's our best fields is when they combine the soybeans. I mean, you can get right down to the soil too.
Yeah, maybe Tennessee Jeff and Seven need to have a how-to video of getting guys like me into researching how to start, where to start.
Well, see, I pick a rainy day. If it's going to be a bad, gloomy day, I'll go to the library or somewhere like that, or here local. And my best map that I've got, it's a 1878 tax map. And, of course, there's still a lot of home sites on that I haven't even looked for. Of course, it pretty much, Maprica, I've been using it, and of course, it'll take you right to them most of the time, but you have to look this 1878 tax map. It was hand-drawn, but it'll get you real close, and it just takes a little bit of footwork after that. And
you were talking about the maps that you've got only go back to 1916. Our maps here in Kentucky only go back to 1929, but I find house sites on the 29 map, and then the next edition of the map was 1939. And if I find a house on the 29 map that wasn't on the 1939 map, I know it was an 1800s house most of the time because, a house will last 50, 75 years anyway. And then, it's gone. And we have found a lot of colonial houses that are underneath those late 1800s houses. But, you don't have to have a map. If you've got a place, like you said, that farm established in the 1700s, talk to the landowner and ask him where the springs are on that place. Find a high knoll around a spring, and I guarantee you're going to find a colonial house there. That's a lot. That's a lot of what we do. A lot of the sites that we're finding, we don't find them through a map. You just have to talk to the landowner and find the spring. And that's the key. Yeah. It's always the water and the high ground. Those two things, whenever you have them in common, they're always worth a hunt. And it may not be a colonial house, but it'd be an early 1800s house. So you have the possibility of maybe finding some old coins around it.
Yeah. Now we have walked 5 miles and then find an old house that a old drunk lived at, and he'd throw his beer cans out in the yard about every day. So
that's part of it.
You do run into them spots.
Yeah, that's part of it. And but we found a 1950s house on the map, and we had to walk probably 2 miles back in there behind Amy's house. And when we got there was a rock wall there, and Jeff found a War of 1812 button, and we found a bunch of colonial stuff. I found cut silver back there. So, you never know what you're going to find whenever you find these old house sites.
You may find one walking to the one that you're looking for.
That's true, too.
But, you got to have that coil to the soil.
Yeah, when we were in Ohio this last weekend, we got permission at a house built in 1880, and that's where I found that War of 1812 shaker hat plume holder.
Oh, man, that was a great find.
There's no rhyme or reason why it should have been there, but it was there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. In fact, I'd made a note about that and never did get around to it. But man, that was a beautiful piece that you found. And what that is it's a brass piece that sits on top of the hat, and then they just put a big plume in it, don't they?
Yes. Yes. I was sitting there, I was digging, coins, from the early 1900s, and get this signal, and I thought it was going to be an Indian head chanting, but it was showing deeper, and it was a little louder. And I finally got to it, and I pulled it out of the ground. I saw that early eagle holding that shield, and I knew it was something good. But I said, well, it couldn't be a finial, because if you turned it like it should be in the pole, the eagle was upside down. I said, well, maybe it's the end of a cane tail, but it's kind of heavy duty for that. And then Dave Wise, I put it on ID me, and Dave Wise, he ID'd it in 30 seconds. I didn't expect it to be that old.
Yeah, Dave Wise is very smart on all that stuff.
Dave Wise is wise now.
Yeah, he is. I'd love to go up there and
hunt. He's another guy that I met on Friendly years ago, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah. He goes by, what, Heavy Metal Nut on that?
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
I find it with him, too.
Let me ask you a question. Where did the guy go that had all the head stamps, that liked all the head stamps? What did he go by?
It was
Turtlefoot.
Yeah, Turtlefoot, yeah. I haven't seen him in a long time. I know he had a website.
He had a website, and that website is gone now. And
I don't know. I haven't heard from him in a couple of years.
I used to find head stamps. I've always saved the old head stamps, the paper ones.
Yeah.
And I started running those through a rock tumbler where I just use aquarium gravel and water and just a drop or two of soap, and run those for, 4 or 5 hours, half a day or something other. And they'd clean them up, and I'd just take a picture of all of them, just spread them out and take a picture of them, and put them on the forum there. And Turtlefoot would always say, I'd say, nothing special here, just some head stamps. And he'd say, oh, no, you got one there that is a rare one. And he would tell me why it was a rare one, And
I've sent many of them.
And he had a massive collection, and I don't know how many of those head stamps that were the rare ones. He'd tell me, he'd ID them, and I'd send them to him. But I lost touch with him. I don't know where he's at. But his website, you could always go to it and get a date and a manufacturer and everything on any head stamp that you found.
Yeah, I found a rare. I believe it was a 4-gauge. I found it was huge, and he just geeked out over that. And I sent it to him. And I sent him a bunch of any of the ones that he found interesting. I would send them to him, and he loved them.
Yeah.
Yeah, our main permission, colonial permission, the landowner there, he collects head stamps, and actually Lloyd gave him one the other day, and it turned out to be an 8-gauge. So I mean, he was tickled with it.
I've never found a 4-gauge. Never.
Yeah, it was huge. It was at a house. It was probably from the 1870s, I would say. Didn't find a whole lot, but I found that when I poured it out, I knew it was special. It was nothing like I'd ever found. And I posted all I messaged him, and he just freaked out over that.
Yeah. Well, I hope that I hope he's still around. Hope he's still in good health and everything. I just lost touch with him and kind of wondered about that because he was a wealth of information on head stamps. And in fact, part of the Civil War camp that I've been hunting for about 5 years now, whenever I got on this knoll that is across the woods on the other side, whenever I first started hunting there, all we found was head stamps. And I bet you we found 300 head stamps in that field. And we just started calling it Turtlefoot Hill, in honor of him because there were so many head stamps there. And I still don't know why there were so many head stamps there, but I mean, that field was full. But we got all them out, and then we started finding buttons and bullets and stuff,
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I've dug many trash signals, and then pop a silver coin or something right underneath of it.
Yep.
You gotta get the trash out of the way to find the good stuff a lot of times.
Hey, Vic, what one thing have you not found that you think that you ought to have found?
That's hard to say. I would say a Civil War belt buckle. Because the area I live in, it was thousands of troops that came through here, and I find it that picket post we found. I found cast the black eye infantry buttons, all kinds of bullets and gaming pieces, but I knew that place was going to have a plate that I've never found one, and I found houses. There's a town about 30 miles from me, and they had a Civil War gun manufacturer there, and the Union troops came through and burned it down, and there's a lot of old houses on Main Street, and I found Confederate buttons, all kinds, Virginia State seal buttons, bullets, and I just knew one of them yards I was going to find a plate, but it just hasn't happened yet.
I've got a breastplate. Hey guys, we've got one more commercial. Let's run this, and we'll be back in just a minute. And Jeff's going to ask the question. If you want to keep up with what's going on in the metal detecting world, then you need to be a subscriber to American Digger magazine. Butch and Anita Holcomb are the publishers of the magazine and have won awards for 3 straight years for being the best digger magazine on the market. American Digger magazine is available in both print and digital formats, so no matter where you live in the world, you can enjoy the latest happenings in the hobby. You can get in touch with American Digger magazine by going to americandigger.com or give them a call at 770-362-8671. And be sure and tell them that you heard it on Relics Radio. And while we're talking about American Digger magazine, I'm going to put in another plug. In the January-February issue of American Digger, my article on the Great Silver Hoard with Jeff Ford, Wes Stringer, and Chris Heimsoff will come out, and you need to catch that article. It is a good article on that. Go ahead, Jeff.
So, Vic, with your just more or less door knocking everything and hunting for coins, what's your oldest coin?
That 1694.
Okay,
coin
all right.
That was in that.
So
but
that would be your best one too.
Oh yeah, I don't think I'll ever top that. I've yet to find a U.S. silver older than a seated. Of course, the cap bust, straight bust is always on my list. But my holy grail of metal detecting, for me, being a coin guy, is a trime. I want a trime more than I want a gold coin. And we were in Ohio this past weekend. The guy that I went with, he's the digging partner of JD from JD's Variety Channel, Jerry.
Yeah.
He went with me, and we get this formation. We're riding the Ohio back roads, me, Joe, Jerry, and my buddy Keith, and we spot this early 1800s brick in the middle of a cornfield, still standing. And so, of course, we're salivating. We almost wrecked when we saw it. So there was a house across the street, and Joe went up to the door and asked the lady who owns the property, and she said it was a veterinarian. So we called the vet's office, and he said, yeah, go ahead. So we went down there. And keep in mind, my Holy Grail's a triumph, and his is a large scent. He's been hunting for 42 years, never found a large scent. That's why he goes. Well, we get out of the truck, first thing I find is a large scent. And I know he was just so, I'm sure he was so upset. 10 minutes later, 40 feet behind me, he digs a triumph. We were both like, this is opposite of how it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
He digs my triumph, and I dig his large scent.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. But I've never seen anybody as happy to find something in my life. He just started screaming, I found it. I mean, it's top of his lungs. I thought he was going to have a stroke. It's like, I found a triumph. I found a triumph. I mean, he was just going hysterical. It was awesome.
You were one of the first persons. I sent you a picture of mine in a text whenever I found mine, and you've wanted one ever since, hadn't you?
No, I can't words to describe how bad I want to try them. And like I said, I need to do the research and hunt areas that are old enough, because the places I hunt are the possibility of finding one is just not that good, because the areas I hunt are 1890s and up. 99% of the places. I need to get to them field sites to find that older stuff.
Yeah. So what about any Civil War tokens or anything? You ever found any of those?
Actually, that's another thing that surprisingly I have not found. So I found hard times tokens. I found a lot of relics, Civil War relics, but I have never found Civil War tokens. One hasn't popped up in my plug yet.
Well, I mean, sooner or later, of course, you said you've only been hunting since what year?
2013.
2000. Well, I mean, you've still got a long time, so one will pop out sooner or later.
Yeah. And my good friend of mine in the park back in the 80s, he found a beautiful Civil War token. I think it was a Louisiana token.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something about my triumph, and it's kind of unbelievable, really, in a way, but it might help you find yours. It rang up on I found it with CTX. It rang up about a 12, 25, 30, something like that. I sent you the numbers on it. It was,
I know the air test at 1229.
Yeah,
I've got that VDI ingrained in my brain.
And mine was 2 inches deep. And I dug it out, and the first thing that I thought was it was one of those little tabs off of a kid's drink. And I said, dadgummit, that's what, them kids throw them things down here, and we think that we got something. And then I went to wipe it off, and I seen that big star on it, and I thought, that's not a kid's drink. I don't know what that. And then I turned it over, and I was really, really surprised whenever I seen those 3 bars, and then seen the date on it. I don't know what mine was. 1852 or something other like that, but it was.
That's what his and my buddy's was.
1852. Yeah,
that's a common date, and there's nothing more beautiful than them bars and then that star coming through there. So,
and they're so incredibly tiny. You would think people would have lost a lot of them because they wouldn't be easy to keep in your pockets. You pull anything out, those are so small. If they hit the ground in the grass, you never.
They're gone. They sure are.
Yeah. I think they're smaller.
Yeah, his was 2 inches deep also. When he dug it out, he thought it was one of them children's play coins, like from the 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
Those little play coins, that's what he thought it was.
I can't remember who it was. It may have been Matt Howell. If it was, just leave a comment. But somebody found a quarter of a real, and that was real small. So, I mean, it was, I think, probably about the size of a Trim, or maybe a little bit smaller.
I don't know. I think it may be a little bit smaller than because a Trim and a half real there's not a whole lot of difference. Now the half real is larger than the Trim, but my Trim is on display up at the museum with a bunch of stuff up there, so I don't have it here to look at. But my cap bust half dime and my seated half dime, both of those are really small. And I'm like Vic, it looks like that they would be really easy to lose, and if they ever popped out, good luck finding them in the grass.
Yeah. It ain't like they could walk in the house and get the metal detector back then.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They couldn't. I mean, they just had to, if they kind of knew where they lost it, just look for it, and you know how hard that is. So, I mean, and one thing about coins is, of course, I know nothing about them. And, I mean, you may have a little, like a curl in this busted hair that makes it worth 5 times as much as the other one. And, of course, the mint marks. I mean, I guess the best mint mark coin I've got it was a 1876 Carson City seated quarter. Yeah. And, of course, the mint marks make them worth different amounts of money. And, I mean, it's so many
I really don't know the varieties and all. But, Jeff, you dug a cap bust $50, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I did. Actually, I've dug 2 of them.
I saw that video, and now you're just trying to make me jealous.
Well, the first one that I dug, it's a real one. It was 1813, and I still have it. And then I dug it was a 1830. I want to say 1830s counterfeit. It was made of pewter.
Oh,
and actually, Relic Bob, he has it right now. So
yeah,
I mean,
I watched that video not long ago. You digging that $50, and I was like, it's a cap bust $50.
And see, in the video, I mean, I was just as calm. Went back to the truck to get something to clean it off with or something other. And I have no idea. I mean, if it had been gold coin,
I know you guys are screaming at me what it is, but I have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, if it'd been gold, I would have known it was better. But I mean, all I knew it was an American coin, and of course, I was at the time. Now, if it said CS on it, I would have been a little bit more excited. But I mean, yeah, I just went back to the truck and come back, and I mean, of course, after about a week later, after researching, I realized what I had. It took me that long to figure out exactly what I had. So, and that one spot,
many years, that's all I know.
Just that one spot, I got it one way, and I'd been over that site many a times, and I just got a little beep, and it was a solid beep, and then I dug down, and bam, there it was, and I need to hit that spot some more with the Equinox, and I just haven't done it yet.
You need anybody to help you. I'm just a phone call away.
All righty.
I don't believe that now, because I invited Vic and his whole family up to stay on the houseboat and come up here and hunt with me.
Yeah, I was telling my wife about that earlier. I was telling her who I was talking to tonight. I said, remember 7? I said, yeah, the houseboat. And she said, oh, yeah. Yeah, I talked to you earlier. I need to come up there and help you guys one weekend this fall or next year or something. We got to get up sometime. It's been too long.
Yeah, it is. And, our best hunting time is right now through spring, because all the crops are out and you can hunt all day and it's cool. And, the ground is wetter this time of year. Signals are better and everything.
And of course, you have the deer hunters this time of year. And then, of course, actually, that's what I was doing today. I was trying to line my muzzleloader up. And, of course, let me tell y'all a little story. Jeff Ford and Wes Stringer, they come and hunted with me and Seven at a Civil War site. But anyway, Lloyd asked me a couple of days earlier, he said, do you want these big display cases that Jeff is bringing? And I was like, well, he says, I don't have room for any of them. And I was like, well, I'll take both of them. So here this big horse trailer pulls up with Jeff and Wes in it. And so we opened the back of the trailer up. And unfortunately, the case that fell over, the 2 cases that fell over. And when you're talking about glass, this looked like the front of, I guess, General Hospital in Nashville or Vanderbilt Hospital. But there was glass everywhere. And then, of I was like, well, I'll go ahead and take these display cases. I'll just put more glass in it. And so we were putting the display cases in my shop, and Seven, like, he went around one corner and so happened he hit my muzzleloader. And unfortunately, it was leaned up against the wall, and then bam, right on the concrete. So that's what I've been doing today. So getting ready for deer season.
Well,
yeah,
that just pays you back for making an old man carry 900-pound case around.
That was just one end of it.
Oh, yeah, I know it. Those were massive. I've never seen a case like those. They wouldn't be. I couldn't afford to put glass back into things, I'll tell you.
Well, it was $150 for one pane, and that was a lot cheaper than I thought. And then, I mean, of course, these pieces of glass, the doors on it weigh 100 pounds. So, I mean, they're huge.
Hey, guys, we got a little bit of showtime left, and call-in number, phone lines are still open, 270-495-0315. We're talking to Vic Tucker, Cohen Whisperer, out of Virginia. Call and talk to him tonight. Ask him any questions that you want. And Jeff Miller put in here, and I think Ohio Relic Hunter said something about it too. I'm almost afraid to ask this question. And you just remember, Vic, that we got kids that are listening to the show, but they wanted to know about your secret deer scent and how it helps you metal detect.
Yeah, good old Jeff Miller. He's got to rib me a little bit. I don't have any idea what he's talking about.
Oh, you don't? Okay, well.
I think he's just goofing with me.
Okay.
Because Jeff Miller's a good buddy of mine also.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he comes up to the CWPPO and we all have a good time. And I think he's just ribbing me a little bit.
Maybe a story that we'll tell somewhere else or something other too.
Yeah.
I have all these things conjured up in my mind that would scare a young child to death if they were to hear it, I think.
I'm thinking, well, does it work? I might need to hear it a couple of weeks when muzzleloader season opens. So,
yeah. Now, I was sitting last night. I live right in the city, and I live in a little development. In the city deer here, you can walk in within 5 feet of them, and they don't even look at you. Last night, I'm sitting out on the front porch, and there's a big buck walking through my yard. He was no more than 30 foot from me, big old monster buck. He just walks, stops, looks at me, puts his head back down, and just keeps walking on across the yard. I could have thrown a rock at that thing and killed it.
Man, them old city deer.
You won't see him whenever the season comes, though.
No.
That's the way it always happens.
Yeah, the squirrels here, you can walk right up to them. They're not scared of you whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I have a little Boston Terrier. He weighs about 20 pounds, and I let him out one day. I don't have to leash him or anything. He just runs. And he was out in the woods, and I heard him start screaming. And I thought a dog had got a hold to him, so I come running outside. It was a doe with a little baby, and that doe was hot on his trail. Sitting there smacking at him with her feet. And he was just going, Wah! It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Well, the funny thing is, I ran at the deer to make it stop, and she kind of went down. She was getting ready to charge me. She looked at me. I said, "Ooh, I got to back up real slow." She wasn't scared. She was coming at me. I guess she thought I was a threat to her baby. Yeah, but she was just sitting there just staring at me. She then crouched down. I said, "She's getting ready to run at me."
Yeah. Well, that's better than what happened to Jeff, because we hunted a spot down at Murfreesboro, and those big bull got after him. And if the ground hadn't been wet and the bull hadn't slipped, Jeff wouldn't be here.
That's right. And you know what was it? Probably about 15 minutes before that, he was kind of bellowing a little bit, and I said, "Now don't act stupid." And sure enough, but I must have pissed him off or something. But he was mad at me. And then, of course, if I'd had to do over with, I would have attacked him
with a bull.
They're pretty dangerous.
There's a colonial house that I have. It's 1740. I'll take a couple guys in there. There's a huge, and it's still standing. There's a huge cow pasture. And the lady said, "Oh, the bull, he won't bother you." But when I see that bull out there, Vic Tucker doesn't cross that fence and get in that field with him.
Yeah.
Well,
it only takes one time with a bull.
Yeah, it does.
You don't have a second chance.
No, you don't. And, somebody told me I think it was Mark Hoover or Ohio Relic Hunter 1, said we were telling that bull story, and Jeff run to the fence and throwed his GPX and everything over that barbed wire fence, and I mean he scaled that baby just on a dead run. But somebody said, well, you don't have to outrun the bull. All you have to do is outrun Jeff.
That's right. And you very could easily. So I know we've got a couple of bulls that are made for colonial permission, and I mean they seem friendly. I mean they get mad at each other every now and then, but I mean we've had them walk up fairly close to us. Well, I mean we give them their space. We don't want to walk up and pet them or nothing. So
yeah, they just don't wear a red shirt when you're at that section.
Yeah,
with the bullseye on you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, my family owned a farm up in Galax, Virginia, up in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And I was probably, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, and I'm down in the creek fishing with my back turned to the field, and I heard something stomping the ground. I turn around, there's a bull behind me, probably 40 or 50 feet behind me, stomping the ground. It's snot coming out of his nose.
Mm.
I was almost like Jesus that day. I ran across that water. My feet never sunk. I went straight across that. I don't know how I got across that creek, but I never sunk. I went straight across that creek and one leap over the fence. But that's my close encounter. I mean, it was right behind me.
Yeah,
he was plenty mad.
I was hunting with a guy one time at one of my colonial sites along the Cumberland River, and there was a bull in there, big old Charolais bull, great big thing. And he'd never been any problem at all. But we watch him and give him his space, and if he moves over our way, we'll move out of the way. And this guy was wearing headphones, and I noticed that the bull, he came through, there was two fields, and it was separated by a fence, but the gate was open between the two fields. And I seen him come out of the other field that we wasn't hunting and come into the field that we were hunting. And he was walking right toward this guy, and this guy was down digging a hole, and I hollered at him. I said, hey, the bull's coming, Well, he had his headphones on, and he couldn't hear me at all, and I was screaming, the bull's coming, and the bull looking at me, like, what are you hollering about, And but he just walked up there and put his head down and looked over the guy's shoulder down in the hole, and I mean, he about had a heart attack over that. And me too, because there wasn't nothing I could do. I wasn't going to go over there.
That's funny when you're hunting with cattle. I know pretty much everybody has. And the cows, bulls, whatever, they get curious of what you're doing. And a lot of times once you leave your dig hole, they'll paw at the ground and uncover that dig hole just to see what you left there. They think maybe it was food or something. And I've had that happen several times. You turn around, and then all of a sudden a herd of cattle will be standing right behind you, and you think, well, where'd y'all come from?
Yeah. Horses are bad for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was hunting a house site one time, and man had 3 Doberman pinchers out there. They were friendly. Well, he'd put them in the backyard while metal detected the front yard. And I was there probably 4 hours or so. I don't know how many plugs I dug. But I went to the backyard, so he moved them to the front yard. Well, I detected the backyard. When I come around the front yard, every plug I had dug, they had flipped them over. Every one of them. Dug down in the hole. And the guy, he was super. He was cool with it. I mean, he just laughed. I thought he was going to get mad because it looked like gophers had been all in that yard because those dogs, every plug I dug, they dug them a foot down. Every one of them.
Yeah.
Man.
Hey, Vic.
Jordan Anderson put on there, says, wait till one of the cows come up and lick you on the back of the neck. Yeah, you'd have to clean, he said you'd have to clean a pair of drawers. And yeah, if they licked me on the neck, I probably would.
I tell you what, I don't know why it is, but whenever I pull my vehicle in the field and field hunting, if it's got cattle in it, I know 1 or 2 places, notoriously, they will come and lick all over my vehicle. I don't know if they're getting salt off of it or what, but I've had that happen. Hey, Vic, I've got a question for you. When you go into a new permission that you're about to hunt, how do you approach that site? How do you hunt it?
You talking about my method of hunting the site?
Yeah. I mean, do you go all over the site and just cherry pick and then come back, or what?
It depends. If it's a site where I know I can come back anytime I want, the first day I might just wander around and cherry pick. And if I find if I find old stuff, old coins, then I'll go back and grit it and dig everything, looking for gold rings, war necklaces. War necklaces, they pop up anywhere from VDI range.
Yeah.
But if it's a site, if it's a place where the lady's like, okay, you can hunt an hour or two, then I'll just cherry pick that's where the CTX ones will play in the yard. I'll just cherry pick as much as I possibly can. Because, if it's a big yard, you can't grit a yard in an hour.
No.
So you pretty much just go around like a madman, just getting what you can get. But if it's a site where most of the places, people will say, hey, you can come back anytime you want, then I'll methodically grit it up and down, sideways. And if it's a place where it's just producing a lot of stuff, and I'll just really, really, really hammer it. I hunted a house 2 weeks ago, and I knew of a guy that had metal detected it. He had a bounty hunter, and my buddy said he told me he's been there about 10 times. Well, that told me right there that he must have found a lot of stuff. So I went. And I saw an old man in the backyard one day. I was riding through there, and so I was finding out he has a house, but he doesn't live there. And he's like, "You can hunt. You can come back anytime you want, and I don't have to be here." He said, "You just have a good time." So I'm hoping to find something the guy left. That day I found 7 silver coins. I found 2 buffalo nickels. I found 2 buffalo nickels. I think it was a V nickel. But the yard was absolutely loaded with stuff. And then I went back 4 more times and just methodically just gritting it. But it goes to show you that just because somebody else hunted it doesn't mean there's nothing there.
Those are the kind of sites that I like to hunt. Where somebody says it's hunted out, because it's a different style of hunting. What coil do you like best on your CTX?
I like the stock coil.
Do you?
I've got the big 17. I have the 6-inch. The 6-inch, it's just too small for me. And plus, I don't hunt sites that are absolutely loaded with irons because, like I said, most the places I hunt, they're mostly 30s, 40s, some 20s, and they're just not loaded with iron. You got trash, but usually it's not very heavy.
Yeah.
But if I'm hunting a big field site, I'll throw the 17-inch on. If I'm at the beach, I'll put the 17-inch coil on for added coverage.
Yeah.
But I've never been a fan of super small coils.
Yeah. Well, we've got a question. What about being pranked by Eddie?
Eddie Smith.
Eddie Smith. Oh, good old Eddie Smith. Where do I start? He's pranked me so many times. Well, the first time he pranked me, we were at CWPPO in 2015. We're up on I think we went through the woods and was up in a field. And then it was me, Eddie Smith, it was Joe Toth, and I think it was Kurt from the Hoover Boys. We were up in this field, and Eddie said, "Oh, I got a great signal." And I'm like, he said, "Come here and listen to it." So I swung over it. I said, "Oh, man," I said, "that might be a silver coin." And, of course, I should have known something was up when everybody grabs their cameras and starts filming. So I get, Howard, he was there, too. Well, I dig down, and I said, "Oh, it's a silver coin." I flipped the plug, and there's a silver coin. And everybody's like, oh, man, awesome. What year is it? So I look at it, I said, "That's 1984. And they all busted out laughing. Old Eddie had just put a slit in the ground with his ledge and stuck the quarter down there. And I said, it didn't register in my brain. I was like, how is this coin not tarnished? It's clad. And they just dying laughing. And it took me a good 5 minutes to realize he had planted a coin. I was like, how does this coin look brand new and it's not silver? And then the second time he got me was a year later. We're sitting there hunting, and we was hunting around this old house. And a couple of Civil War boats had been found around that area that morning. And I'm sitting there and I'm hunting. There's a bunch of guys. Because you can imagine there's CWPPO, there's 100 guys that go. So there's people everywhere. And I've got, it was me and Joe, and it was Eddie, and I think it was Kurt, friends. And we're all sitting there taking right beside each other, and I get a signal. And I dig down, and it's an Indian head. So I made the mistake of leaving my plug open and walking away from it. And I'm over there showing Kurt. He's looking at my Indian or whatever. So I go back to my plugs. I said, like I always do, already checked the hole, and I stuck my pinpointer back down in the hole. And I said, "Oh, it's got friends, everybody. It's got friends." And everybody gathers. There's 30 people around me. And they all got the cameras out. And so I wipe the dirt back with my finger. I see a reeded edge of a silver coin. And I said, "Oh, my gosh, I got a barber quarter. I got something seated." Well, everybody's like, pull it out of the hole. Pull it out of the hole. And people are like, "Wait, let me get my camera on. So I pull it out, and a 20-cent silver coin. I said, "Oh, I got a holy grail. I got a 20-cent silver coin." Everybody's like, "No way. Oh, that's a dream find. People don't find those." And I'm sitting there grinning and like I've accomplished. I'm sitting. I'm the big dog on campus. My feet ain't even touching the ground at that point. I'm so happy. Well, I turn around and look at Eddie, and he gives me that evil grin. I said, "Eddie Smith, you dog." And they got it on film. It's on Eddie dealing with Eddie's video.
Yeah, Eddie. Somebody's saying somebody took off with 13 gallons of pasta and garlic from the lunch.
Oh, Eddie Spaghetti.
Is that how he got that name, Eddie Spaghetti?
I don't know how they come up with that nickname. I don't know.
That was Ohio Relic Hunter that said that.
Yeah. And then last year, we're sitting there at the meet and greet at the CWPPO, and I was sitting there beside Eddie, and we're eating, and I made the mistake once again. You think I would learn my lesson? I opened up a Mountain Dew, and I had it beside me. I get up and walk away. I'm over talking to somebody. I come back, take a drink out of my Mountain Dew. It's got salsa all in it. It was relish. It was hot dog relish. He dumped a whole big pile of hot dog relish in my drink.
Man.
Yeah. So tip, anybody that ever hunts with Eddie Smith, don't turn your back. Don't let your plugs him, because he's gonna prank you somehow, some way.
He's a character, ain't he? And,
he's a character.
And one good thing about him, he's always on time, isn't he?
Yeah. He's always on time.
Yeah, Joe.
Is he about his own time as I am?
Yeah, he's probably worse than you are, if you can believe that. But I remember Joe one time had a video. He said, "I'm waiting on Eddie Smith," and I don't know, they were supposed to start hunting about 8 o'clock, and Eddie got there about 9.
He's sitting in the parking lot. Yeah.
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 Hey, Vic,
I got him back, though.
What'd you do to him?
At the CWPPO, I had some of that liquid fart spray. I don't know if you ever smelt it, but it's awful. It's awful. And I sprayed old Eddie a couple times with that. They got that on video, too. Yeah, I had to pay back.
Yeah, I think Ohio Relic Hunter said something about that. Hey, Vic, It's been a blast having you on. Tell everybody how they can get in touch with you. You don't have a YouTube channel, do you?
No, I don't have a YouTube channel, and a lot of guys have asked me why I haven't done it, and I don't have a good reason for it. I just never have done it. I thought I'd get the GoPro, but one of these days I'll do it, maybe, if somebody wants to tune in and watch me dig stuff. But, I'm just on Facebook, and, Vic Tucker's my name, and I'm on Friendly. If you guys go to Friendly Metal Detectors Forum, my handle there is Coin Whisperer.
Yeah.
And, that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah. And, guys, if you go to the Friendly Metal Detecting Forum and you join up there, or you contact or say anything to Vic, tell him that you heard him on Relics Radio here. And it's been a pleasure having you on. I tell you what, hang on after we close the show here. We're going to give you a Relics Radio T-shirt for being on with us for an hour and a half tonight, a little over an hour and a half, really. And we certainly do appreciate it, don't we, Jeff?
We sure do. We appreciate everybody's in the comment section, and appreciate Barb for calling in. And then, is she still there? Or
no, she dropped out. I don't know what happened to her. I
hadn't seen her in the chat in the last few minutes.
She may have to go to work or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
them old ladies have to go to bed early.
Yeah.
Yeah. Old lady.
Yeah.
I know she's gonna get me for that.
Yeah, that's a good place to close, because I guarantee you, if she's in hearing distance, she'll call back or throw something in the chat. That might not be family friendly either. Get on the bad side of Barb. Yeah. Hey, Barb, if you are still listening, I heard that you're kind of in charge of that thing that Chuck Smalley and Josh Kimmel are doing, and we want to be part of that. We want to send you some stuff. They're having a Christmas giveaway thing, so reach out to me, and me and Jeff will send some stuff and kind of sweeten the pot on that. That's a good thing. And by the way, before we close, we still have our shirt contest. If you've got a Relics Radio T-shirt from Detect Tees, take a picture and put it on our Relic Radio Facebook group page. We'll give you a number. And Thanksgiving night, that show, we're going to give away a Garrett AT Pro Pointer. And Ken and Mark Guthrie are going to throw in a Relics Radio hoodie. And then we're giving away another detector this Christmas. We did that with Josh last year, and it was a great time, wasn't it, Jeff?
It sure was. We really appreciate it, Josh. Of course, he gave us a Go Find 40, and then this year we've got a Go Find 44. So
yep, got to Go Find 44, and you have to go to Digging with 7 YouTube and look at the Christmas giveaway, and all you have to do is just comment Go Find. I'll give you a number there. We've got about 160-something people that are already entered in that. But on the December 13th show, we'll do a random number generator draw, and we'll draw a number, however many people that we have entered in that. And that way, we'll be able to get that detector in the mail and hopefully there before Christmas. But we appreciate everybody that's listening tonight. Appreciate Barb calling in. Certainly do appreciate Vic being on the show with us tonight. And let me remind you, if you like podcasts like this, check out Beyond Sight and Sound Sunday night and Wednesday night with Josh at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then All Metal Mode is on at 8 p.m. on Monday night. American Digger Relic Roundup follows that Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. And then History Seekers is on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. And Hardcore Metal Detecting is on Thursday night and Saturday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. And obviously, me and Jeff are on every Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. And this winds up our first year. We'll have our anniversary show next week with the Keebler from Stealth Digger. So be sure and join that show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Relics Radio. We really do appreciate it. Be sure and join us live each Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern here on Spreaker. Or you can catch the archive show at Relics Radio on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, or iTunes. Please take a minute and hit the like button and be sure and follow us so that you'll get notifications of all of our upcoming broadcasts. You can also find us on YouTube at Digging with 7 or Tennessee Jeff, or you can check us out on our Relics Radio Facebook page. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then send an email to diggingwith7@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We hope you'll join us next Thursday night, and until then, get out there and dig some history.